The large business hall was full of rich people. Bright lights, expensive suits, and soft music filled the room. This was not a normal meeting. This was a $1 million deal. At the front of the hall stood a famous millionaire. He was tall, confident, and smiling proudly. Everyone knew his name. Everyone respected him. When he spoke, people listened. On one side of the room, a group of Chinese businessmen waited calmly. A thick contract was placed on the table between them. The paper looked simple, but everyone knew it was very important. At the back of the hall stood a black woman and her young daughter. The woman wore a simple dress. Her hands were shaking. Her daughter stood quietly beside her. The girl's head was down. She did not speak. She did not smile. Most people did not even notice them. The millionaire picked up the contract and laughed softly. "This deal is in Chinese," he said loudly. "I need someone to translate it perfectly." People looked around. Some shook their heads. Some avoided eye contact. Then the millionaire laughed again, louder this time. His eyes stopped on the quiet black girl at the back. He pointed at her. "If she can translate this," he said with a mocking smile, "I will give her mother my job." For 1 second, the room was silent. Then laughter exploded. People laughed loudly. Some clapped. Some whispered. "She, a black girl, this is a joke. She doesn't even look educated." The girl did not move. She did not react. Her face stayed calm. Her mother's face turned pale. Her heart started beating fast. She grabbed her daughter's arm gently. "No," she whispered. "Please don't." The millionaire crossed his arms. He enjoyed the moment. He enjoyed the power. "You are laughing," he said, "but I'm serious. If she translates correctly, I will step down." More laughter. Someone from the crowd said, "She can't even speak Chinese." The Chinese businessmen looked confused. They did not understand the joke, but they felt the tension. The girl slowly lifted her head. Her eyes were calm. There was no fear in them, only focus. People noticed her face now. She did not look nervous. She did not look weak. The millionaire noticed it too. "Do you want to try?" he asked, smiling. The girl stayed silent. The silence became heavy. The mother's hands trembled. She remembered all the nights, all the struggle, all the times people laughed at them. The millionaire shook his head. "I knew it," he said. "She is scared." More laughter filled the hall. But then, the girl took one step forward. The room slowly became quiet. She walked with confidence. Her steps were slow but strong. The millionaire raised his eyebrow. "Interesting," he said. The girl stopped near the table. She looked at the contract. She did not touch it yet. The Chinese businessmen stared at her. They were curious now. The mother closed her eyes. The girl took a deep breath. Everyone was watching. Some people smiled. Some waited for her to fail. The millionaire leaned back. He was already enjoying his victory. This will be quick, he thought. The girl finally reached for the paper. She looked at the first line. The room was silent. No laughs. No whispers. Only breathing. Just when she was about to speak. Cut. The narrator's voice came in calm and strong. They laughed at her silence. They laughed at her color. They laughed at her place in the room. But in the next moment, everything was about to change. The room was silent. Everyone was still waiting for the girl to speak. But before her voice could be heard, the story moved back in time. Years ago, the girl's name was Lena. She did not grow up in a rich house. She did not have expensive toys or big dreams people believed in. She lived with her mother in a small, old apartment. Every morning, Lena's mother woke up early. She cleaned houses. She washed dishes. She worked wherever she could. People looked down on her. "She is just a worker," they said. "She will never be more." Lena heard these words many times. At school, on the street, even from teachers. Lena was quiet. She always listened more than she spoke. Some students laughed at her silence. "She thinks she is smart," they mocked. "But she is nothing special." Lena never answered back. She kept everything inside. One day, when Lena was very young, she saw a Chinese movie on an old TV. She did not understand the words, but the sound of the language stayed in her mind. It was different. It was strong. It was beautiful. From that day, Lena became curious. She started searching for Chinese videos in the library. She watched free lessons on old computers. She repeated words again and again. Her mother noticed. "Why this language?" her mother asked gently. Lena smiled softly. "I don't know," she said. It feels important. Life was not easy. Sometimes they had no extra money. Sometimes the lights went off. Sometimes Lena studied by a small lamp. Her mother would sit near her after long work hours. She was tired, but she never stopped Lena. Keep going, her mother said. Knowledge is power. At school, people laughed even more. Chinese, they said. Why not something normal? You will never use it. Teachers did not believe in her. Friends did not support her. But Lena continued. Every night, she practiced speaking. She practiced listening. She practiced translating. She learned words, then sentences, then meanings hidden between words. Lena understood something important early in life. Language is not just words. Language is truth. Years passed. Lena became better. Much better. She could hear a sentence once and understand it fully. She could see mistakes others could not see. But she never showed off. She stayed quiet. She stayed invisible. One evening, her mother came home worried. There's a big meeting tomorrow, she said. A very rich man invited me. He needs workers. Lena looked up. The deal is with Chinese people, her mother added. They need translators. Lena felt something in her chest. Can I come with you? Lena asked. Her mother hesitated. It is not a place for children, she said. I will stay quiet, Lena promised. The next day, they entered the big business hall. Lena saw things she had never seen before. Expensive suits, gold watches, cold smiles. She felt small. Her mother felt smaller. No one welcomed them. No one smiled. They stood at the back. Then the millionaire started speaking. Then he laughed. Then he made the challenge. Lena understood the words clearly. Not just the English words, but the meaning behind them. He was not testing her skill. He was testing her place. He did not expect her to step forward. He expected her to disappear. But Lena remembered every night, every tear, every laugh she swallowed. She looked at her mother. Her mother's eyes were full of fear. Lena made a decision. She stepped forward. Back in the present, her hand touched the contract. The paper felt heavy, not because of the deal, but because of the moment. The girl everyone ignored was now standing in the center. And the people who laughed were about to listen. The girl stood at the table. The contract was open in front of her. Thick pages, small letters, a deal worth millions. The room watched in silence. The millionaire leaned back in his chair. His arms were crossed. His smile was relaxed. This will be interesting, he said calmly. But don't take too long. Some people smiled again. They expected embarrassment. They expected failure. Lena looked at the first page. She did not rush. She did not panic. She read slowly. The Chinese businessmen watched her closely. They whispered among themselves. The millionaire tapped his fingers on the table. He was confident. You can stop any time, he said. No shame in trying. Lena did not answer. She turned the page. One man from the crowd laughed softly. This is a joke, he whispered. Lena's eyes moved across the lines. Her lips stayed closed. Then something changed. Her face became serious. Very serious. She lifted her head and looked at the Chinese businessman. She spoke, not in English, but in perfect Chinese. The first sentence was clear. Strong. Correct. The room froze. Every smile disappeared. The Chinese men looked at each other in shock. The millionaire's hand stopped tapping. Lena continued speaking. Her voice was calm. Not loud. Not nervous. She translated the first part of the contract word by word. Then she stopped. She pointed at a line. This part, she said in Chinese, has a hidden meaning. The Chinese businessman sat up straight. She explained slowly. This sentence says partnership, she continued. But legally, it means control. A quiet tension filled the room. The millionaire leaned forward now. Lena moved to the next page. This section looks safe, she said. But it is not. She explained how the deal would slowly take power away. How profits would shift. How the company would lose control within 2 years. People began whispering. That's not possible. She's making it up. The Chinese businessmen stopped smiling. One of them spoke to her in fast Chinese. Lena answered immediately. No pause. No mistake. The man's eyes widened. He nodded slowly. The millionaire stood up. That's enough, he said sharply. You're confusing everyone. Lena looked at him for the first time. Her eyes were steady. I'm not confusing, she said calmly. I'm explaining. The room went silent again. She turned another page. This clause, she continued, is the most dangerous. She explained how it would force the company into debt, how it would give legal power to the other side. A cold fear moved across the millionaire's face. He grabbed the contract. He read the lines again. Sweat formed on his forehead. No, he whispered. That can't be true. Lena looked at him. You trusted the wrong translation, she said softly. The room felt heavy. No one laughed now. The people who mocked her avoided her eyes. The Chinese businessman whispered again. One of them stood up. He bowed his head slightly toward Lena. This is correct, he said in broken English. She understands everything. The millionaire's hand shook. His joke was no longer funny. His challenge was no longer safe. Lena closed the contract. She stepped back. I have finished, she said. The room stayed silent. The millionaire looked around. For the first time, he felt small. He remembered his promise. His words echoed in his head. If she translates, I will give her mother my job. Everyone waited. Would he keep his word? Or would his pride destroy everything? The camera slowly moved to Lena's mother. Her eyes were full of tears. The narrator spoke softly. The girl they laughed at had just saved them. And now, the real test was not her skill. It was his character. The hall was no longer loud. It felt heavy, like the air itself was waiting. The millionaire stood frozen. The contract was still in his hands. His confident smile was gone. People who laughed before were now silent. Some looked at the floor. Some looked at Lena. The Chinese businessmen whispered quietly. Their faces were serious now. No smiles. No jokes. The millionaire cleared his throat. This is just one opinion, he said. She is young. She could be wrong. Lena did not reply. She simply opened the contract again. There is more, she said calmly. The room leaned in. She turned to another page. This line, she explained, looks normal. She paused. But in Chinese law, she continued, it changes everything. She explained how one word changed the power, how one phrase moved ownership, how the deal was never equal. The Chinese businessmen stopped whispering. One of them spoke. He asked Lena a deep question, a question only experts would understand. Lena answered clearly. She explained not just the words, but the culture behind them. The man smiled slowly. You studied deeply, he said. The millionaire felt the pressure growing. He tried to laugh again. You memorized some phrases, he said. That doesn't mean you understand business. Lena looked at him. I understand risk, she said simply. She turned the page again. This part, she said, is not about money. Everyone looked confused. It is about silence, Lena continued. If you sign this, you lose your voice. A shock moved through the room. The Chinese businessmen exchanged looks. One of them stood up. This is true, he said. We expected your lawyer to see this. The millionaire's face turned pale. You expected us to fail? He asked. The man did not answer. That answer was enough. People began to whisper louder. This deal was dangerous. We almost lost everything. She saved us. The millionaire raised his voice. Enough, he shouted. The room fell silent again. He looked at Lena. You embarrassed me, he said. Lena's voice stayed calm. I told the truth, she replied. The words hit harder than anger. The millionaire looked around the room. He saw respect in people's eyes. Not for him, for her. That hurt more. He took a deep breath. He remembered his words, his promise, his joke, the challenge he never expected her to win. If she translates, he had said, I will give her mother my job. Everyone remembered. The silence became painful. The mother stood at the back. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were wet. She never wanted power. She only wanted respect. The millionaire walked slowly to her. He stopped in front of her. The room held its breath. I made a promise, he said. His voice was lower now. No pride. No laughter. I laughed, he continued. I was wrong. Gasps filled the room. I will step down, he said. As I said I would. People could not believe it. He turned to Lena. You are not just a translator, he said. You are a warning. Lena said nothing. The Chinese businessmen clapped softly. Others joined. Slowly. Respectfully. The applause grew. The millionaire stepped back. But the story was not finished. One of the Chinese men spoke again. "There is one more thing," he said. The room froze. He looked at Lena. "This deal," he said, "was a test." Everyone turned. "A test?" someone asked. "Yes," the man continued. "We want to see who truly understands." He smiled slightly. "And now we know." The millionaire's eyes widened. The power had fully shifted. The narrator's voice came in slow and clear. They laughed at her voice. They doubted her place. But the truth had chosen her side, and the final outcome was still coming. The room stayed silent after the Chinese man spoke. A test. That one word changed everything. People looked at each other in confusion. Some did not understand. Some were scared to understand. The Chinese man stepped forward slowly. His face was calm. His voice was firm. "This deal was never only about money," he said. "It was about trust." He looked at the millionaire. "We wanted a partner," he continued, "not someone who signs without understanding." The millionaire said nothing. His throat was dry. His mind was racing. The Chinese man turned to Lena. "You saw what others missed," he said. "You read between the lines." Lena listened quietly. "You understood the language," he added, "and the intention." The room felt smaller now. People who once laughed felt uncomfortable. They shifted in their seats. The Chinese man continued. "Our company hides this clause on purpose," he said. "Only a true expert finds it." Gasps filled the room. "So this was planned?" someone whispered. "Yes," the man replied. "We do this to protect ourselves." The millionaire finally spoke. "You were testing me?" he asked. The Chinese man looked at him. "We were testing everyone," he said. Silence again. The millionaire's pride was gone. His power felt weak now. He looked at Lena, a girl he had mocked, a girl he tried to use as a joke, and she had passed the test. The Chinese man stepped closer to Lena. "We want you," he said simply. The room reacted at once. "What? This is impossible." The millionaire turned sharply. "What do you mean?" he asked. The man answered calmly. "We want her as our lead translator," he said. "An advisor." The word advisor hit hard. Lena's mother covered her mouth. Tears rolled down her face. Lena looked surprised for the first time. "I didn't come for this," she said softly. The Chinese man smiled. "Sometimes," he said, "truth brings rewards." The millionaire felt invisible now. The deal, the power, the respect, all of it was moving away from him. He remembered the moment he laughed. The room laughing with him. Now no one laughed. He took a deep breath. "I will keep my promise," he said. Everyone turned. "I will step down," he repeated. People gasped again. "I will give her mother my position," he said. "As I said I would." The mother shook her head. "I don't want revenge," she said quietly. "I only want fairness." Her words were simple, but strong. The millionaire nodded slowly. "You have it," he said. He turned to Lena. "You didn't defeat me with words," he said. "You defeated me with truth." Lena looked at him. "I never wanted to defeat you," she replied. "I wanted to be heard." That line stayed in the air. The Chinese man clapped once. "This is exactly why we choose carefully," he said. He looked at the room. "We will continue the deal," he announced, "but with new conditions." The millionaire looked up. "You will not lead it," the man said. "You will learn from it." That was worse than losing power. The audience understood. Respect had changed sides. The girl who stood in silence was now the center. The man who spoke the loudest was now quiet. Lena stepped back next to her mother. They held hands. For the first time, they felt equal. But the story was not finished. The narrator's voice came in steady and calm. This was not the end. This was the beginning. Because when truth speaks once, it never stays silent again. The meeting ended, but the story did not. News spread fast. People talked in the hallways. Phones came out. Messages were sent. A black girl exposed a fake deal. A millionaire lost his position. A young translator shocked everyone. Within hours, the story was everywhere. Outside the building, reporters gathered. Cameras flashed. Microphones waited. Lena and her mother tried to leave quietly. They did not want attention. They wanted peace. But the doors opened. Light rushed in. Questions flew from every side. "Is it true you spoke perfect Chinese? How did you learn? What do you say to the millionaire now?" Lena stayed close to her mother. Her mother held her hand tightly. "We are just people," her mother said. "We did what was right." The reporters followed them. The millionaire watched from inside. Once people followed him. Once cameras loved him. Now they passed him by. His office was empty. The chair he once ruled from was silent. He sat alone. He replayed the moment in his head. The laugh. The joke. The silence after. He did not lose his job in one day. He lost his image. Back outside, Lena and her mother reached a small cafe. They sat quietly. Lena's hands were shaking now. Not from fear. From everything she held inside. I never wanted this, she said. Her mother looked at her gently. Sometimes, she said, life pushes you forward. Lena nodded. She thought of all the nights she studied. All the words she practiced alone. No one saw those moments. Now everyone saw her. That scared her. A message came to her phone. It was from the Chinese company. We want to meet again, it said. Privately. Lena showed her mother. Her mother smiled softly. This is your path, she said. Meanwhile, the millionaire faced his board. They sat in a long room. Cold faces. Sharp eyes. You embarrassed us, one of them said. He lowered his head. Underestimated her, he replied. And that, another said, cost us control. He was removed fully. No applause. No bien. Just silence. Back home, Lena could not sleep. She opened her old notebook. Chinese words filled the pages. Mistakes. Corrections. Growth. She smiled slightly. The next day, she met the Chinese team again. This time, the room was different. No laughter. No challenge. Only respect. They listened when she spoke. They asked questions. They trusted her answers. You don't just translate, one man said. You understand people. Lena felt stronger. But not proud. Grounded. The world reacted in many ways. Some praised her. She is inspiring. She broke barriers. Others doubted her. She was lucky. She was used. Lena read nothing. She focused on work. Her mother watched from a distance. Proud. Quiet. One evening, Lena received a message. From the millionaire. He wanted to meet. Her mother hesitated. You don't owe him anything, she said. Lena thought for a moment. I want to understand, she said. They met in a small room. No suites. No audience. The millionaire looked tired. I was wrong, he said. Not loudly. Not proudly. Honestly, you reminded me of who I forgot, he added. Lena listened. I forgive you, she said. But I will not shrink. The man nodded. He understood. As Lena left, the narrator's voice came in calm and deep. The world was watching now. But the real change had already happened inside. The girl who was once invisible had found her voice. And in the final chapter, that voice would choose its future. The city slowly returned to normal. But for Lena, nothing was the same. She walked through the streets with her mother. No cameras. No reporters. Just quiet. The noise of the world had faded. But the impact of her words remained. Lena did not feel like a hero. She felt like someone who had finally spoken. The Chinese company made their final decision. They offered Lena a permanent role, not just as a translator, but as a bridge between cultures. She read the message twice. Her hands did not shake this time. Her mother smiled. You earned this, she said. But Lena hesitated. She remembered the hall, the laughter, the challenge. She did not want power. She wanted purpose. She accepted the offer. On her terms. The first day at her new role felt different. People listened when she spoke. They asked before deciding. They respected silence. Lena brought her mother with her. Not as an employee, but as a guest. The people who once ignored her now stood up to greet her. Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Not from pain, from pride. Meanwhile, the millionaire watched the world move without him. He was no longer invited, no longer followed, but he was learning. He started mentoring young people. Quietly, without cameras. He remembered Lena's words. I wanted to be heard. He made sure others were heard too. One afternoon, Lena returned to her old school. She stood in front of students who looked like she once did. Quiet, unseen. She spoke simply. People will judge you before they know you, she said. Let them. The students listened. Your skill is your voice, she continued. Protect it. One girl raised her hand. What if they laugh? She asked. Lena smiled gently. Then let your work speak later, she replied. The message spread, not as a headline, but as a lesson. Months passed. Lena grew into her role. She helped avoid bad deals. She built honest partnerships. She stayed humble. She stayed kind. She stayed strong. One evening, she stood on a quiet balcony with her mother. The city lights glowed below. Her mother held her hand. "They tried to silence you," her mother said, "but you became louder than their noise." Lena looked at the sky. "I was never silent," she said softly. "I was preparing." They stood together. No wealth could replace that moment. No title could define it. The narrator's voice came in calm and clear. They laughed because they did not understand. They doubted because they feared truth. But the girl they ignored became the voice that saved them. And the lesson remained. Never judge silence. Never underestimate patience. And never forget, the quietest voice can change everything.